excited to have with me here Janelle McMiller from Synquility Sisterhood. She's one of the contributors that we've had actually a couple times now to the J&B Living Journal. I'm Julie, by the way, founder of and the J&B Living Journal. And this is my first time trying to do a discussion like this with one of our contributors. Janelle's the first person that I reached out and asked, and just because I'm so thrilled with what she's had in the journal so far and so excited to have her here with us today. So if you're not familiar with the journal, it is a little bit different. It's unique in that it is kind of a cross between a journal and a planner, and it's really put together in such a way to guide you to more joyful, mindful, balanced living, which is what J&B Living stands for. And inside it, we have lots of prompts to help guide you down that path, as well as some inspiring stories and quotes and poems and all that kind of thing from women like Janelle. So for instance, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this is what she had in the spring journal. It's so gorgeous, a picture of her with, and she's got in there a writing about her tattoo that she got and what it means to her. Yes, I love it. And it's such a cool writing because she talks about how in her life, like reflecting on when you can have, you know, instead of thinking about things as like, well, I can do this, or I can do this, but then this would happen. It's like she had so many examples of, well, I can do this and this, and it's so cool. Yeah. So I'll try and actually put it at the end of the video too. But even if I don't manage to figure out how to get it there, you can actually go to Janelle's Instagram, which I will make sure to put something on there so you can find her. And she's actually got it on her Instagram page too. If you scroll down and look for like that same type of picture, you'll find it. So it's super cool. Anyway, I am so excited, Janelle, to have you joining me here to chat today about Synquility Sisterhood and a little your background. And yeah, I can't be more excited.
First of all, I love your energy. This is like one of the first things that attracted me to you is your energy. And it's just so positive. It's so uplifting. It's so pure and so great. I'm very grateful to have been in the journal, to be in the journal again, and to be your first like little interviewee in this type of setup and format. I have an office, but I am currently downstairs in my living room, and I have my cat to right, as you can see, and then my puppy, which is why I'm down here, is to the left of me, and it's a new puppy. So I'm filling things out. She likes to be close to mommy, and she doesn't necessarily love my office for some reason. So I makeshift office for me right here on the floor in front of my couch. This is how I like to show up, just authentically as I am. But yeah, I'm very excited to dig in and share a little bit about me and Synquility and sisterhood and all the things that make our lives beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, maybe that's where we start. Can you kind of just explain for us, like, what is Synquility? Just maybe describe.
Yeah, I would love to. So if you're listening and you're like, I've never even heard of that word, it makes sense because Synquility is a completely made up word. My daughter actually brought it into our space one day when we were sitting around a table trying to figure out, I knew I had a vision for a company and what the intention was and the purpose and all of that. I just didn't have a name. And so I am all about feelings. And I was writing down how I wanted women to feel. I knew I wanted a community of sorts, a place for women to come together, to feel safe and seen and heard and appreciated, and a place for them to grow. And really, the idea of Synquility is we're all experiencing this thing called life, and we don't have to do it alone. So I'm writing down all these words, and then my daughter just says Synquility. And we were like, my mom was there with me too. And we were just like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. What is that word? And so I'm Googling, and I'm like, even in Instagram, looking up like hashtags, see if anything was there. And everything's like, there's no like return for my search. And it was just like, how often do you plug something into Google and Google's like, I don't know what this is. So yeah, that's how it was born. And that's the energy of Synquility. It's this it's this place where you can go and just say, hey, I'm me, and I just want to be who I am. And I'm always up for growing and evolution. And sometimes I'm celebrating like all of the glory and all of the greatness. And sometimes I'm really sad, and we get to feel all of our emotions and our feelings. And then, but it's this thought of like, but we don't have to do it alone. Synquility was born through COVID too. And so it was literally when everyone felt very, I mean, we were shelter in place, so you had to be essentially alone, and we were cut off from so many of the normal things that we would do and the people that we would connect with. And it was like, well, we don't have to be though. It's one of those, it's the and like, we can't go outside necessarily, and we still get to have connection, and we still get to link arms and walk through this journey and these paths together. So that's like the little short story of Synquility.
Yeah, and I think I remember when you and I talked, I guess maybe it's been a few weeks or maybe a month ago or something. So you have like regular, like just calls where people get together and just chat. You want to tell us a little bit more about that? I forget what you called it. It sounded, I liked the way that you described him, because it did sound a little unique to what I've, heard about that some other similar, like coaching type companies have done.
Yeah. So I call them our connection Zooms. Everything's held through Zoom, just as we're doing right now. And I have focused like themes for them. For an example, we have every other Monday is our social hour, and that's time to get together and really just be social. So we're connecting, we're talking about like, what are we excited for the week? And we have Friday free chat, which is the opposite weeks on a Friday. And that's kind of the same idea of like, hey, like, how did your week go? Like, what happened? But then, we're all women, and we all get to come together and also be like, hey, there's like really crappy thing that happened to me and I want to vent about it. So we have a special connection Zoom for that. And every month I have story sharing night. And that's one of our really most intimate containers where we listen and witness women as they share their stories. And the story can be very uplifting. Sometimes it's sharing something very tragic that happened. And I mean, it's the whole gamut. The purpose is that we can just share something without giving any like beforehand story or anything afterwards. We're just giving someone a glimpse. And I think that there's so much power both in sharing our stories, but then also listening to stories. And that's been beautiful just to witness these women. I've had women who have shared a story and said they've never shared that story. And these women are in their 50s and in their 60s. And I'm just like, and it's that like heartfeltness and also so much gratitude that they found a place where they could do such a vulnerable thing. And then we have we have a lot of entrepreneurs actually in our community. So I have bi-weekly, I call it Entrepreneur Circle. And it's like a mini business mastermind where it's everything you would think about in a business mastermind. We're talking about everything from marketing to how do you put energy into your business, like all, the whole XYZ, like all the things. And yeah, that's more of our regular ones. We have twice a week or twice a month, I have master classes. And sometimes these are led by our sisters within the community. And sometimes it's outside experts that come in. And again, it's everything from like gardening 101 to human design to tonight we have a lady coming in to talk about self-care redefined as your mental health hygiene. And yeah, I just try to provide, Synquility is such a diverse community and we're all inclusive. If you identify as female, we welcome you in with open arms. It's not cliquey. So I try to provide something for everyone, whether you're a mom, whether you're in a partnership or you're single, however, whatever your background was, or your wants and your dreams. Like, I just want us all to come together and find immense value and being in sisterhood. And that's what it really is. I mean, it's a community, but the difference with Synquility is it is a strong sisterhood. I mean, these women come together and they really bond and they create these like deepened relationships.
Yeah, when you were describing that, that's what's kind of was coming through my head. It's like, yeah, this is why you named it like a sisterhood, because that is like the way you're describing it, that really comes together. It's more than just coaching. It's sharing your wins, sharing tears, whatever, Yeah, that's awesome. So I know you said that it was born in COVID as well. So,
Yeah.
what kind of led you, like maybe you could tell us just a little about your background and what led you to want to create it, and what brought you in the path to actually getting it started?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm really bad at short stories. But I'm like, where do I start? I'm gonna try to put it in like simplistic form of a story as I can. I so I had been, where do I even want to say? I've been coaching for years, right? Like I've a lot of mindset coaching, helping women to go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset and manifesting, and just how do we bring it all in and really create a life that we love, a life that we're obsessed with. That's kind of what I preach, is like create a life you're obsessed with by doing it your way. And then 2019, I quit corporate America. Like I retired from the corporate world, and I was coaching 100%, and I went all in on that. And then 2020, my coaching took a whole new level when I got this divine download from the universe that I needed to coach specifically on gratitude and forgiveness. And I wanted to be a coach and a mentor and really a guide and help women to navigate, because something that I had realized is, and this is, I mean, obviously from my own journey, like there's so much work that I did with gratitude and forgiveness, but whether I was coaching a woman just on very basic mindset techniques, or I was doing some business coaching too at the time, it all came down to allowing and welcoming in gratitude and living with embodied like forgiveness. I kind of said that backwards of how I usually do, but it works hand in hand both ways. And just really playing with both of those in our lives and how we could be our best selves with just these two ideas, these two like foundations. And so, like I said, it was divinely guided. I was in the shower, and I feel like the showers are kind of my portal. I'm very spiritual. And I was telling the universe, like, what do I do? Like, I felt like that tapping on your shoulder, like there's something more, there's something new, there's something different. And I was like, what? Like, tell me. And yeah, and it came to me, and I just remember so much coming to and through me that I got out of the shower right away, and I just started journaling. And I had a whiteboard that I had brought up into my room. It had been like sitting for who knows how long. And I put everything on this whiteboard. Like it started with just like coaching. It was like, women need to hear this. They need to understand this fully and completely. And then it was like, but we need to have a mastermind, because some women learn better and can grow deeper when they're together in like a more of a circle type of environment. And then there needs to be a course, because some women need to go through this completely in solitude. And so like, I'm just doing all of this. And then I wrote this vision for myself, and like who I needed to be in order to deliver this into the world. And I put it all on this whiteboard, and I was like, all right. And I created my mastermind. It sold out in the shortest amount of time. And it was just like confirmation. That's definitely what I needed to do. Mm-hmm. So that was like May in 2020, I believe it was. And then I had some big life changes that happened through the summer. And something that came out of that was knowing we deserve sisterhood. Like, we as women deserve to be able to link arms, to be who we are without masks, no pun intended. And just to say, hey, I am me, and I just want to be who I am, while knowing that I can change, I can shift, I can pivot, I can grow, I can do all of these things. And I just want a space that I can tap into and go through this journey, you know, with other women who feel that same way. And it's not that you have to come in as an expert. Like, if you are a coach, like, leave your coach hat, you know, to the side. If you're a mom, leave your mom hat to the side. You don't have to show up as anything besides just who you are. And so that's when I created that. And yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey of, like I said, just watching women come together and grow together and being able to help so many women. I also introduced, so I do 4 masterminds a year. So gratitude and forgiveness. And then I do do it your way, which is releasing all the limiting beliefs and the stories and kind of deciding how to live outside of obligation, going like insourcing instead of outsourcing, and then manifesting abundance. That's all about manifesting and like bringing wealth into our lives. And then I end the year with, oh, I can't even think of the name of it, but it's about like playing and being in your magic. And then I also started doing retreats and oh my gosh, Julie, I mean, that's like everything to me. I think hosting retreats has been so fulfilling because it's like taking all of that and then putting it into one extraordinary weekend. And I mean, I'm in love.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it? I mean, I haven't done one of my retreats since COVID. And I have missed them because, oh my gosh, the connections that you make in that space and time, it's really incredible. And it's not something that doesn't go away. I feel like I have new sisters from each of my retreats, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's just such that perfect time to, this little bird just landed right on my window. It's a container of like time where you get to really create memories that last forever. Right. And I think when we can cultivate that type of energy and time capsule it into a memory, it's invaluable. Like these are the things that make us the most rich in life. Like these are the priceless things. And to be able to do this for a living and knowing that, I mean, we all have our purpose. For some of us, we have many different purposes. I believe, I mean, I'm a mom as well. Like there's many things that I do, but I believe that this is a part of my soul purpose and why I'm here. And so knowing that I get to live this out fully and authentically and in the highest expression that I can. I mean, I wake up every day truly and I'm like, I get to live this life. Like I just have so much abundance in my life. And I do think it's important for anyone listening to know that before 2013, like this isn't how my life looked. It looked very different. I suffered from chronic depression and I dealt with anxiety and stress every day. And I have a very painted past. A lot of trauma, especially in my childhood and in my previous marriage. And so life hasn't always been like rainbows and butterflies. And I know what it's like to, even if you're not happy, to be like, I would accept like neutrality, like that would be good enough for me. And I'm at this place where now I know what happiness is and I know that I get to choose it. Not every second of the day because I'm highly emotional and I feel all of my feelings and make space for them without judgment. But then I get to choose a better thought that's more serving for me. And so I get to choose positivity and joy and living this balanced life. This is why I love your journal planner. Like I was as soon as I realized what you did and I went onto your website and I was looking up everything that I could, I went to your Instagram and I'm like looking at anything that people had tagged you in and just trying to see more of this journal. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is everything I have ever wanted in a journal. And I'm like a planner girl. So I used to have like 3 different planners at a time. But yours has everything that you could want. I mean, you have your habit tracker, you have the daily practices, the tips, the tricks. Like, I mean, I can't talk about it enough. I share about it my last retreat, I had it out on the counter and people were asking about it. And I was like, please look at this journal. Like you need to have this in your life. And that's another great thing is that you can take it anywhere with you. I wish I had it right here, but it's in my office. But because it's like the perfect size, but it's not too small, but it's just like, it's so accessible because it fits in your purse. Like I love it. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful to even know that it's such an honor. And I'm very humbled to know that I'm not only in it right now, but that I will be in it again in the fall. Like, and spring and fall are my 2 favorite seasons of the year. So I'm like, again, it's just like that divine confirmation in the universe being like, I'm celebrating you and what you do. And like, let's continue to shine light so that other people can find us.
That's really cool. And it's I think one of the things that I think is so cool too, when we had talked before about, you had mentioned that your life wasn't always as, happy and joyful, and you didn't like have some of the tools and recognition of how to make that happen in your life.
Yeah.
One thing that I found like fascinating or like just really encouraging is that a lot of what you learned, you just sought it out and learned it on your own, at least in the beginning, right? Which I think, I think that's a big thing, because a lot of times people, will go and, you'll get the coaching or you'll take a course or whatever, but it's super cool that you recognized that there was more, and that you could take control of your life and you could learn these things. And then you kind of self-taught yourself a lot of it, right? To be able to get to the point where you are now. And I think one of the things too, that I think is so powerful that you just mentioned a bit ago that, I like to talk about a lot too, is just that recognition that we do have the power to choose how we feel. And I think, like you said, you're not happy all the time, and you let yourself feel things, right? But there's a lot of power in that too, right? And in recognizing, okay, I'm feeling, maybe unhappiness, or I'm feeling a little anxiety or something, but just recognizing, okay, yes, I'm feeling this. I'm going to let myself feel it, at least for the moment, right? Kind of let it move through me, but then recognizing I can also choose my next thought or my next feeling when I'm ready to, and then move towards that, which I think that recognition of having the power to choose is huge, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's like radical self-responsibility and acceptance.
Yeah.
And I am, again, like I'm an avid journaler. I will process all of my feelings, all of my thoughts. I process them thoroughly, like a gentle observer of what's going on. I no longer identify with things like, for an example, anxiety. I don't say I am anxiety. It's like I'm experiencing anxiety, and I know that my mind is so incredible. So it's trying to tell me something. So anxiety is here to tell me to pay attention to something. What do I need to pay attention to? And it's giving myself that grace and compassion, so that it's not like, oh my gosh, like, why do I feel this? I'm a horrible person, or like, it's like none of the victim mentality stuff. And when we can do that, we can get to a better place much quicker. Like there's this bounce back that is like very just gentle and like, hey, okay, see you. I know that something's going on. Let's tap into it. Let's explore it. And then let's process and release it. And I think that, we only have so much time here on the earth, in this body, in this lifetime, and I want to make the most of my time. So I'm very intentional with my time. And I think that's where it goes back to like, okay, now how do I want to feel? Or like, what do I want to do with the rest of the day? And sometimes, I do fall, like with all the work I've done, I do fall into depression at times. And there are days where I'm like, all I'm going to do is go to bed. Like that's the best that I can do for myself, is just to go to bed and wake up tomorrow and embrace a new day. And like, that's okay too.
I fully understand that. I do the same thing. I fortunately, I recognize that, and I'm blessed because I honestly don't get depressed a lot. And I recognize that I am blessed by that. But sometimes when I have those days, I'm like, okay, just leave me alone. I'm going to feel this today. And that's just the way I'm going to be. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to choose to be different. And then that works for me.
Yeah. We do the best we can with what we have and with the capacity that we have. And that's why I think it's so important to always strive for growth and to healing our past, to healing our trauma. I like to, I can't think of his name. There's this guy years ago that looked at PTSD and introduced the idea of PTG, so post-traumatic growth. And I'm like, oh, that's a good one.
Interesting.
Because we can really use everything that's happened to us. And I don't like to say everything happens for a purpose or a reason, but it's like everything happens as it ultimately is meant to be. And when we do come from a mindset of gratitude and being able to embody gratitude, and we feel fulfilled in the life that we're living, then we can say, okay, all of that was on the path to get here.
Right.
And yes, it was challenging, and there were character building moments, and there were maybe experiences that I would have enjoyed having an opposite experience.
Right.
However, I love me, and I know that that's a part of who I needed to be to become who I am today. And that's how I guess, that's how I process it in my head. And that's what I want to offer to other women. Like,
yes.
we don't have to stay stuck.
Right. That's beautiful. Yeah. And then, you know, the great thing is like, with whatever you're doing in the work that you do for yourself too, it really shows, because that's one of the things too that I was very drawn to when we first talked, is that one of the very first things I noticed is you just glow with this joy, and I just love it because it just kind of exudes from you, and that is so beautiful, so beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. So I think one of the things that I want to try and ask everyone, just to kind of wrap things up, if you will, is what are, like, at least one, or you can tell me a few things or whatever that you do either like daily or on a regular basis to help you live a more joyful, mindful, or balanced life?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think going back to gratitude, allowing both gratitude and forgiveness to be pillars in my life. And what is just a quick way that I could sum it up? I am so intentional about creating memories out of seconds. So I believe that every second is an opportunity to time capsule into that beautiful memory. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I decide to do. Like, people live their lives, you know, by hours or days or whatever, and they measure, but I'm like, well, why not take it down to the seconds? Because that's how we stay present and in the moment. And I am a visionary and I'm a dreamer, so I love to think future focused, but we can't lose sight of right now and today. And so that's what I would say. Create, you know, take your seconds and create memories and let them be beautiful moments for you.
So in saying that, is like the way that you go about doing that is just from, is it from like a mindset of an intention to view each moment from a positive, like, point of view, or from a joyful, sorry, thought I had that clicked off. It says I think it's silent. Sorry. Anyway.
No, I think it's to really be present. So whether you're having a positive experience or a challenging experience, it's just to be present. It's to know, like, and if it is something tough, come to breath, like sit in your breath.
Right.
That's what I mean by the seconds, like really bring it down and then just be with yourself and breathe. If you're feeling scarcity and lack, look outside and look at the trees and the branches and how much abundance is just like right outside for you. Mm-hmm. Look at all that you have and all that you've accomplished in life, and then but bring it into this moment and breathe all of that in, knowing like you're safe and you're secure right here, right now, and then keep moving forward. Like, this is also another thing that I would love, just like a last minute thing for everyone to take with them, is we move so quickly during the day. We're always thinking like, what's the next thing I have to do? What's the next thing I have to do? And I think there's so much power in just taking a moment to pause to, and to like, be like when we get off this call, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to think about what I put into this, all of my energy. And then I'm going to feel gratitude. And then I'm going to call back my energy and then intentionally think about what am I going to do next? And how can I put my energy into that? And I think that's how we can stay present in conversations. And you're not always thinking about like what's before, after, or next, because you've done all of that work. And now you get to just be here right now together.
So I'm curious too, with that I love what you just said. When do you make a practice, like I know you've talked about that gratitude and forgiveness are two really pillars in your life. So do you really, and you said you'll get off this call and you'll pause and you'll reflect and you'll have gratitude for it. Do you make a habit of intentionally pausing and feeling that gratitude like throughout your days? Is that like a habit in and of itself?
Yeah. And I think when people ask me, well, Janelle, how do I embody gratitude? Like I say, I'm thankful, like I am thankful. And I'm like, well, true. And, you know, we're taught how to say please and thank you. But the difference is like, I do the cliche things like the gratitude journal, and I think about all that, but I think about it on such a deep level, and I think about it in pockets throughout the day. So it's not just in the morning, it's not just at night, it's not just before a meal. Like, I'm constantly taking moments to just sit in that gratitude. And, so yeah, I think that's how I'm intentional. And then I even like, I always have my crystals around me. Like, I have several crystals right down here, and I use them to channel my gratitude in, and also to get energy that I put into these to give to myself, and to connect to divine sources around me and to receive their energy. And like, I'm always asking that my guides, my angels, allow me to say all the things that need to be said for it to come to me and through me and be received in a way that others are able to really pick it up and process and find value in it. So yeah, this is what I do all the time. This is me. I always say like, my thoughts have thoughts and those thoughts have thoughts, because I'm always like thinking. And so I have to be intentional about slowing down and really pausing and being present. And coming back to breath, and just like, I'll put my hand on my heart and my belly, and I just really allow myself to relax and to stay connected to the ground, to the earth, knowing that I can just fully be still and just allow my belly to relax and my shoulders. And I mean, even then, like, we're so tense all day, when you can just be like, okay, like, you're safe, you're protected. It can change there are a lot of studies. I know we're like running out of time. There's so many studies about just breath work, what it does for you, meditation, gratitude, these things, they scientifically do so much for us.
Yeah. It's interesting you talking about, like, it reminds me of, you know, I shared with you right before we got ready to get on the call and everything, or to start. And I was talking about how I thought my computer was hacked, and all this kind of happened, and all leading up to, like, within about 10 minutes, I finally got off the phone right before you and I got on the phone together, finally, like, working through bank accounts and all that kind of thing, which, you know, my computer wasn't hacked, but it was like very crazy for like an hour or two. But there was a point through all that when I'm racing with my laptop out and trying to go into, you know, find an Apple person to help me fix my laptop, that I was like, no, wait a minute. It's all going to be okay. Just take a breath and breathe. And it's amazing, like, just that recognition of coming back, that grounding, that breath, and then everything can kind of calm down. You can actually think straight, you know. It's pretty powerful stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's the magic. That's the magic of life. Like, that's the secret ingredient, I think.
Right? Yeah. And there's one other thing too, when you talk about, like, the thinking about, you know, stopping and feeling that gratitude, or thinking, it's more than thinking, right? It's probably you taking the time to actually feel what that feels like. So it's not like, oh, I'm grateful in my mind for that call and the, you know, the conversation we had and sharing with everyone that's listening. It's a feeling of, you know, and truly taking a moment to feel that, right?
Oh yeah, like in a visceral way. I mean, I will think about something either that just completed or something that I'm heading into, and I will be smiling. I mean, there's moments where I can feel so moved from a conversation that I'm brought to tears. I can get goosebumps all over my body. So yeah, it's a full body inner outer experience for me.
Very cool. Well, I've loved, you know, our conversation. This has been awesome. I think where should people find you? I will make sure to put things in the, you know, in the notes and everything, but tell us, you know, anywhere that you want to share to look for you, or anything you're excited about coming up to share, you know, in the last few minutes here.
So you can go to synquility.com, and I know it's going to be in the notes, but it's SYNQUILITY, just in case you're listening, you're not actually watching. And everything I have is there. You can find me on Instagram at Mrs. Janelle M, or Synquility_sisterhood. But even all of that information is on the website. So if there's one thing you remember, just remember synquility.com, and you'll find all about me. And it has all of my offerings from the community, the masterminds, retreats, everything is going to be listed right there in that beautiful hub. Shout out to my web designer, who's also my mom, Harley. She's created just a masterpiece for me.
She has.
But yeah,
website.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I will let her know. And I just want to say thank you so much to you. Thank you, Julie, for everything, all the opportunities you've given me, and for helping shine this spotlight on Synquility. And thank you to those listening. I hope that this has been more than worth your time, and that you feel just inspired and full of gratitude.
Very nice. Thank you as well, Janelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.